I think we need to take a step back and take a real look at Aaron Judge, because the things this man is doing with the baseball bat are not normal. The tear he's been on the past couple of years is something that we have not seen in decades. Not since Steroid Era has an offensive player put up this kind of mark. Just the other day, Judge made headlines for hitting his 300th home run, which would be very impressive for any 32-year-old. Not many Major League Baseball players are climbing up the ladder board of 300 homers, but especially when you consider he hasn't even played 1,000 games yet in his career. In 2022, Judge broke the American League home run record with 62 big flies. And that was insane. I mean, I don't think any of us really thought we would see players climb to that height again after the steroid era, but he hit 62 in 2022, and he very well could get back up to 60 this year. And I think this chart speaks volumes. Aaron Judge just climbed up to hit 50 Baseball Reference WAR, entering into the top 10 amongst all MLB ball players. But once again, you notice something a bit different with Aaron Judge. 41,000 plate appearances. That's no shade to anybody else on this list, but Judge is nearly 2,000 plate appearances behind anybody else, and he's already climbed up to 50 reference WAR, which of course, as we mentioned, is due to his tremendous bat, how valuable that's been since 2017 when he finished runner-up in MVP, but also with the glove. He's consistently been one of the best outfielders in Major League Baseball. Now at center field, he hasn't been quite reaching the highs that he did in right field, but playing the most demanding spot within that outfield, and especially a pretty deep center field in Yankee Stadium for a 6'7" man who's clubbing 60 home runs a year to cover that kind of ground and still put up those kind of defensive metrics. That's incredible. At the time that I'm recording this video, Aaron Judge has a 224 OPS plus. And that statistic, again, is measuring how good that specific player is in accordance to the rest of the league. So 224, 100 being the average, means Aaron Judge is approximately 114% better than the average Major League hitter. And while this season is not yet over, and that OPS plus stat is bound to change, there are only 4 other players in the history of Major League Baseball to finish a season with 224 OPS plus or above. That being Barry Bonds, who did it 4 times, Babe Ruth, who did it 5 times, Ted Williams, who did it twice, and Ross Barnes, who did it all the way back in 1876. All that to say, Aaron Judge is essentially having the 13th best offensive season of all time and putting up the best offensive numbers that we've seen in 2 decades. Not since Barry Bonds have we had this kind of offensive dominance. And I think it's important to point out that Judge struggled mightily at the early part of the season. Between the months of March and April, in 31 games, Aaron Judge had a mere 754 OPS, which, let's be honest, for a lot of players, that's not that bad, especially when you play the kind of defense that Aaron does. And then you go down the list and see just what has happened since then. Truly one of the best runs that you'll see from a hitter. And of course, everybody loves to have the whole value to team conversation. Who is most valuable? Well, I think if you look in 2023, of course, the New York Yankees were off to a great start and then they collapsed. But if you look at all their qualified hitters, it was basically just the Aaron Judge show. He wasn't quite as amazing as he's been this season, but still, in OPS at 175, he was truly about the only offense on the 2023 Yankees. And of course, They've since added Juan Soto, who's putting up his own MVP case this season, but the results are still fairly similar. Judge and Soto are way at the top, and yes, Giancarlo Stanton is at a pretty good season, albeit some injury here and there, and Austin Wells has been on a very nice run recently, certainly going to get some Rookie of the Year votes, but once again, it's Aaron Judge, front-running at the top, leading the charge, and really being the biggest reason why that team is winning. And I do think that having Juan Soto in that lineup pays dividends for Aaron Judge because, again, you look at his season last year, there wasn't many players in that lineup that you really had to fear as a pitcher. So a lot of times you would see Judge just get nothing to hit. And yes, a walk is fine, but if nobody can cash in that walk, it's going to lead to high stats, but not a ton of wins, especially when the pitching staff struggle as much as they did in 2023. And we'll call back to someone who was in an earlier chart, Jose Ramirez, because I think it really showcases what I'm talking about. The intentional walk is basically non-existent in present-day baseball, or at least not nearly what it used to be about 20-ish years ago and beyond. However, the player that was intentionally walked the most in the last 2 seasons was Jose Ramirez, who once again found himself on a Cleveland Guardian team that did not have much lineup protection. Now that they're hitting better, Jose Ramirez's intentional walk numbers are down. Go figure. And in both instances, with Aaron Judge and J-Ram, you're seeing these two get a lot more to offer. And in both of these 2 cases, Aaron Judge and Jose Ramirez, you're seeing more pitches that they have to hit. And in both cases, with Aaron Judge and Jose Ramirez, they're getting more pitches to hit. And when you've got as much talent with the bat as those two, good things are going to happen. Good players become even better players when you have good players around those good players. Which is why I think it's so important for the Yankees to take a good hard look at what exactly is going on with that team when you have Aaron Judge and Juan Soto in the same lineup and essentially say, who cares how much money we're going to pay this man? He will be in pinstripes for the next decade or whatever it takes because the pair of those two is just truly unstoppable. If that pitching can get back to where they were early season, Clark Schmidt should be cleared to return from injury at some point here. The Yankees are going to be a force to be reckoned with. And if they even get a couple more players down that lineup to start producing, really going to be tough to beat them. If you look at the American League, I don't know if there's a stop to the Yankees. That roster is very loaded. And again, it all starts and finishes with Aaron Judge. Let me know what you guys think about the incredible season he's having so far this year. Do you think he's going to reach 60 home runs yet again for the second time in 3 years? And I guess crazy enough, do you think he will win MVP? Because as much as we talk about Judge here, there is a legitimate case for a Bobby Witt Jr. or a Juan Soto on that own team. So leave a like if you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.